Shalom, sons of Yasharallah, Kal, Hayimla, Al Hayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashai, Bahashem Rachaha, Kodash. My name is Gabaga of the Hopeful Election from the Company of Prophets here in Toronto, and I'm here to tell you the truth. And today is Tuesday, June 24th, right? Tuesday, June 24th, another day closer to the deliverance and the destruction. Before I go into it, I want to say, as is written, that the elders, the rulers, become the worthy of double honors, especially they who labor in their word and doctrine, which is the Presbyterian of Green Millstone, beginning with the elder apostles, the elder bishops, and the elders on down. I also want to say peace and salutation to all you came on the highways and byways to continue to push His truth in honesty and in sincerity and in the fear of the names of Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. There's a book of Micah 2 verse 1, and it reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." Verse 2, "And they covered fields, and took them by violence, and houses, and took them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage."
I would want to be a little different from some of the other commentaries on the war, because everyone is, of course, focused on it, and put it in a historical perspective, which won't surprise you because you'll hear me saying what you've heard me say before on this program. The United States is a declining empire. And what you see week after week, and now year after year, are the symptoms, the signs of that. And let me give you some examples. Israel is a very small country. Israel is trying to do something which was feasible 2 centuries ago. It's called settler colonialism. It's when you move a group of Europeans into a non-European area, you exclude the people one way or another. Move a group of Europeans into a non-European area, you exclude the people. Move a group of Europeans into a non-European area, you exclude the people. Move a group of Europeans into a non-European area, you exclude the people.
Yeah, so right there, you heard it. This is from the man himself, Dr. Wolf, right? Professor Wolf, rather. This is a man that actually does a lot of podcasts going into like the decline of the Western Empire, and also he also touches on basically like the corruption of the West and its influence that he has in the world. And so when a lot of his videos are actually very edifying as far as like like the facts of history and what's happening, right? And also like basically like the power and the greed that Esau Edom has, and now is showing out to a point where he's actually now trying to, not do things, undercover anymore, but he's doing things blatantly and overtly to where, the whole world can see it. So that's why I went ahead and open up with the scripture. Let me go ahead and get it again. Micah 2 verse 1, and it reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity." The word woe, the word there means, basically like death and destruction, right? Woe to them that devise iniquity. And who's the them? The them is talking about the elites of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He's the one that devised iniquity, going back to when he came to the America. They came to the America and they massacred the so-called Native American people at the tribe of Gad and Reuben. Okay, the natives that were here. And then what they do, they had the so-called blacks come over on the cargo slave ships, okay, as slaves. Then they had, of course, they once they had massacred most of the natives, they took the land. Okay, then they brought the slaves, right? It says, "And work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." And in this day and age now, this applies to. It does apply to America, but more so now to Israel. Because ultimately, that land of Israel, that was something that was that they came up with in Britain, okay, and something that basically they put it in the books to come in and grab the land of Israel in Palestine, by force and take it, because the power is in their hand. It tells in the scriptures, Job 9:24, the earth is in the is in the hand of the wicked. Okay, that's ultimately the so-called white man. So therefore, that's why he's able to go ahead and do things around the world. Colonize whole nations, colonize whole continents. Okay, colonize like even the whole earth. Really, the whole earth has been westernized because of the so-called white man. Of his grip of power that he has, that the Most High Yahweh Bashim gave unto him. Okay, when he went back to the blessing that he gave unto his, when the blessing that Isaac gave unto his son Esau, right? Second verse, it says, verse 2, and they covered the fields and take them away, and then they covered the fields and take them by violence, right? That's it's like, yeah. That was Esau's blessing. Esau's blessing was that he would live by the sword. Okay, that's how he's been able to, subdue the whole earth. Okay, through his military might. The colonizations. Okay, but all these, he has been at the, through, trickery. Okay, bloodshed, murder. All right, theft, covetousness. Taking things that were not supposed to be yours. Okay, taking another man's land, taking another man's property. Okay, these are covetous men, the so-called white man, and now he's being revealed. Now you can see, now he's talking about coming up with settlers over there, or expanding his settlement over there in Israel. Okay, and that's what this man, that's what this man is doing. The whole purpose of their war, it's clear to see now that they were actually trying to just expel the Palestinians that were there, and so that they grabbed the land by force, and they're doing it, on live TV. You see, so and the covered fields. Let's cover the word covered. The word is hamad, and it says a primitive root to delight, beauty, greatly, beloved, covet, delectable, thing, delight, desire, greatly. It says to desire, covet, take pleasure in, delight in, to desire, to be desirable. To delight greatly, desire greatly, feminine nouns, right? So that's why his man desires greatly. Not goes into basically like greediness, right? Covetousness, wanting something that's not yours, right? It says, and they covet the fields and take them by violence, and that's what they've been doing. Okay, they did that to America when they came over to the Americas. They did that to to all these other places that Esau Edom that not supposed to be. Would they be South Africa? Okay, would they be Australia? Would they be even here in the see the Americas, Africa, all right, over there in so-called Middle East, Western Asia, right, even Europe. You see, it says and houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Okay, and that's what they did. They ultimately, through the colonialism, they come in and take away, like your heritage, which your heritage that goes back to your land. Okay, and they come in and basically, if there's any products or any goods that your land can produce, they monopolize that. Okay, and they use that for themselves. But basically, they profit off of it. While the person that actually was there, the guy paid for the wood, the guy paid for the to use the stuff that's on their own land. Right, so it's properly something inherited, right? Occupancy or heirloom, kind of something that's inherited. That's a land. Okay, well then in Palestine, those people, the land, the houses that they had, those houses, they had them, through generations. Okay, it was passed down onto the son, onto the son's son, right? And that's what this man has done. He came in and take away the people's heritages, their houses, their homes. First, he blew them to smithereens. Now they're bringing this construction crew and basically flatten out the whole area and start building again, right? So it's properly something inherited, occupancy, or concretely an heirloom, right? Generally an estate, patrimony, or portion. You see, so it's a piece of land. That's what they do. They press a man, even a man and his heritage. That's why this man brought up that word, which I went ahead and looked it up. The word there is settler colonialism. Right, when you go into it, it says, this is an AI overview, and it says settler colonialism is a specific form of colonialism where the colonizing power intends to permanently replace the original population and establish a new society on the colonized land. Is not what this man has been doing. Is not what the so-called man did when it came to the Americas, when it came to North America, South America. Okay, when he went to Australia, when he went to South Africa. All right, when he went to the now it's the Middle East, or it's like that was in the Western Asia. Okay, so-called Middle East. Now that's what he's doing. Is comes in, okay, and permanently replaces the original people population and establishes new society on the colonized land. That's what they're doing in Israel. And that's the same scripture that I just read. So that goes to show you that this scripture or these face the so-called white man, right? Let's see if there's a precept here. Yes, go to Habakkuk 2 verse 5, and it reads, also because he transgresseth, it transgresseth by wine, meaning by philosophy, and he's talking about the so-called white man. Okay, the so-called white man is a subject in point right now. He's the one that's on the podium. Okay, basically being judged. Okay, right now the so-called white man, his wickedness is being aired out. Okay, and is being shown the whole world that this man is wicked. Okay, and so and it's clear to see now that this man, the so-called white man, he has been nothing but evil. Okay, has brought evil into the world. Okay, his philosophies. Because before people used to think that the West was the way to go, but now they come to realize that the West brings nothing but death and destruction. Okay, it brings nothing but heartache, mourning. Right, you can see the fact that over there in believe in Saudi Arabia, the women are like complaining for not being able to drive the cars. All right, and here it is, the woman was everything was fine over there until Esau Edom came in and basically tried to elevate the woman, and now they're having all kinds of problems over there. The women and the men. You see, and so this man, through his philosophy, like things like feminism, things like equality amongst the genders, okay, which that's a lie. Things like democracy, okay, education that he pushes, okay, his religions, all right, his financial systems, all this philosophy, all that's his one, and brings forth nothing but it puts into debt. Okay, that's what these people are finding out over here in America. Everyone is in debt. Okay, it puts you physically, your mental health is always declining. Even your physical health. Okay, people here are on all-time. There's an all-time pandemic of mental health in society. Okay, physical health, right? People are obese, and the foods that they eat, the way they talk, the way they interact is all brought to you by the American. The American way, which which that is nothing but but confusion. Okay, Babylon, right? It says because also because it transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. That's so-called white man. He's a proud man. You see how the way he talks, the way he walks, the way he moves around. He exudes the pride of the so-called white man. Okay, that white supremacy, the pride that they have. You have the Proud Boys. Okay, these are all nothing but Edomites. Now they keep it at home, right? And that's what they've been doing. They go to every man's land and they're always in everyone's business. Now they keep it at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and keepeth unto him all people. That's what they did in America. America is known as the great melting pot, right? Because you have all the nations that are there, and that's ultimately because they were gathered together by the West, by America. Okay, so that it could be, they could be, so they could be put in basically, for his traffic. Okay, that's how this man is able to make money, for his traffic. Okay, so back in Micah 2 verse 3, and he reads, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Shai, behold, against this family do I desire an evil, this family, the family of Esau Edom, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go heartily, for this time is evil." And who's the evil for? It's evil for Esau Edom, specifically. So it's going to be evil for people who are, buddy with Esau Edom. Okay, let's go ahead and get the judgment. Okay, This is the book of James 2 verse 13, and it reads, "For he shall have mercy without judgment that hath shewed no mercy." And that's what the so-called one man has done. He has showed no mercy, man. Okay, from the time he came to power to this day, he's still showing no mercy. Okay, we see how he's bombing schools and hospitals. Kids are walking over, little kids are being blown to smithereens, man. Okay, doesn't matter who it is. Taking away people's lands. People are starving over there in the Middle East, being starved to death because these people, they're not allowing the food to come in. They're not allowing the aid to come in. I mean, this is all mainstream news media. Okay. So therefore, this man, is showing himself that he does not show any empathy or mercy. So therefore, as it says, for he shall have no mercy, for he shall have mercy, for he shall have judgment without mercy, that has shewed no mercy. And mercy rejoiceth against judgment. That's right. The judgment is going to come when the Lord Yahushua returns to utterly do away with Esau Edom, to slaughter them. Okay? Maybe I should go ahead and get that. Beautiful. This book of Obadiah, so this is going to be a judgment for you so-called white people. The book of Obadiah 1 verse 9, and it reads, "And thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter." Okay? Slaughter. That's going to be all the Edomites, okay? Ultimately, after you've served your period of slavery, okay, 1,000 years, you're going to be gathered together and you're going to be put down. Okay, burnt up. Okay, you're done away with. Okay? Another judgment for Esau Edom. Oh, it's actually the same book, yeah. It's good to, yeah, it was 18. Yeah. This book of Obadiah 1 verse 18, and it reads, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble." Now Joseph here is talking about the northern tribe, and Jacob is talking about Judah and the southern kingdom. Okay, Jacob is the southern kingdom, the so-called the dark-skinned tribes, and Joseph will be the so-called Latin tribes. Okay, and the Native American tribes. You see, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, meaning to be burnt up. Okay, and they shall kindle in them and devour them. There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh has spoken it. See, so your enemies are going to be done away with, man. Yeah, another scripture. All right. Yeah, can right here. The book of Psalms 137 verse 7, it reads, "Remember, O Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yashai, the children of Edom." Okay, I believe the word be born, yeah, so it'll be the sons, right? Remember, O Yahweh, the sons of Edom, okay, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Here's the point, verse 8. "O daughter of Babylon," and this happened when, basically when the Babylonians came in and sacked and destroyed the temple. Esau Edom was amongst them. Yeah, it was one of the nations that was cheering them on, helping them on. Okay, basically, like, they were clapping for them as as they were destroying us, right? So they were for our enemies, even though the so-called white man is actually our twin brother. Verse 8 says, "O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed." You see, so America is the daughter of Babylon. Okay, because ultimately America, is as a product of all the empires combined. America, is same as America is Babylon, Assyria, okay, you know, Greek, Rome, all in one. Okay, so it says, "O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast rewarded us, has served us." See, so that's going to be that payback, man. You Edomites, you're going to have to pay for what you did to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American, okay, and also what you did to the whole earth, as a whole. Okay, you've brought nothing but death and destruction. Okay, and your ways have utterly polluted the whole earth. Okay, the Heavenly Father is going to require that for you. Verse 9 says, "Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones." That's right. Okay, the same way you did to our women, back in slavery. When you use our babies as gator baits. Okay, there's actually a thing. This Edomites man, this soccer white man. He did atrocious things to our children. Okay, he'd use them as gator baits. Okay, he would use them, for his test medicine. Okay, to see their pain threshold. Okay, so you best believe that the elect are going to get back. And what you did to our children, you're going to have to suffer the same. Okay, and like in this case, you're gonna be dashed against the stones. Okay, it's going to be literal, man. Okay, and when that day comes, that's when you're going to feel the same pain that our people felt when you take away the children. In slavery times, they'll come in and just grab your children. When you're playing or out and about, and then they'll be sold off to another plantation, and you never see them again. So you are going to feel what people felt. You're going to know what it's like. I'll soon come. You see. So that's it. Madam, I'm going it there. I say Brata Yehovah, Brata Yahushai. So come Sharola, wa Babal, Shlom Piled, Shlom Akim.
One way or another, and you basically populate that area with the arriving Europeans instead of whoever lived there before. It worked 2.5 centuries ago because that's what the United States is. And we went to the final solution of the settler colonial project, which is literally exterminating all of those people. What Hitler did to Jews and gypsies and communists and socialists was not new. It was the repeat of what had been done by Germans, but also by lots of other.
And Hitler was a Jew. I'm going there and say Shalom to the Akim. Shalom to select. Shalom Akim.
Europeans all over the world.